California's Foundational Professional Development for Teachers program, sponsored by Senate Bill 472, or SB472, is designed for all California school teachers. SB472 consists of 120 hours of professional development in mathematics or reading language arts, each including 40 hours of face-to-face professional development time and 80 follow-up practicum hours, designed to improve classroom delivery of instruction and assure that all students have access to grade-level standards and achieve or exceed grade-level benchmarks in mathematics and reading language arts state-approved instructional materials. The specific legislation may be downloaded through the California State Legislation database. The web address is on the screen. After you've entered the web address, select under session the 2005-2006 prior session, select the Senate House, and under bill number, enter 472. Click Search to submit, and then click the appropriate PDF file to open the entire document.
SB 472 training offers teachers the opportunity to have comprehensive professional development with the state board adopted instructional materials that they use in the classroom with students every day. Teachers say that they learn the skills necessary to differentiate their instruction to meet the needs of all students in the classroom so that they can be successful.
The California Department of Education manages information regarding funding and requirements for participation in SB 472 approved programs. The CDE website provides a variety of information related to SB 472, including application for funding and participation, frequently asked questions, as well as CDE program contacts. The guidelines and criteria document include information such as background and perspective of the SB 472 legislation, eligibility for participation, special circumstances, funding details, an overview of district requirements, training specifications, key terms and definitions, as well as program updates. Districts can apply for state funding for their classroom teachers. The funding follows a reimbursement model in which the district would receive partial funding upon completion of each 40-hour institute component and the 80-hour practicum component. Under SB 472, districts are reimbursed once participants have completed all requirements for each approved 40-hour training and the 80-hour practicum subsequent to attending a reading language arts or mathematics institute.
Participating LEAs are eligible to receive funding for participating teachers. They can receive $1,250 for their initial 40 hours of training, another $1,250 for English learner professional development, and also another $1,250 for additional training.
The district is not eligible for reimbursement funding until a participant completes all requirements related to a 40-hour institute or the 80-hour practicum. Training requirements include full attendance and completion of the independent study homework assignments for each institute. San Diego County Office of Education strongly encourages districts to have participants complete the requirements for each institute during the course that they register to attend. Makeup opportunities and costs vary across programs.
Well, what I appreciate about the professional development offered at the San Diego County office is the attention by the presenters given in how they organize their opportunities for teachers, whether it's their attention to content or the attention to the pedagogy behind the practice. They blend with what I need to get done in the classroom for my students to be successful. And that comes from facilitators who have been in the classroom, who have been site administrators, bringing in their prior experience and blending it into the instruction that they give us as professionals.
The Reading Implementation Center, or RIC, hosts the SB 472 Institutes for elementary level core programs. These institutes are offered in collaboration with the statewide RIC network and the Reading Development Center Reading Lions Center at the Sacramento County Office of Education. On the California Department of Education application for reimbursement, the Reading Lions Center at the Sacramento County Office of Education is the approved developer provider. Current state-approved instructional materials include Houghton Mifflin's Reading Program, Houghton Mifflin's Lectura, Open Court Reading, as well as Open Court Foro Abierto. Please note that the State Board of Education on November 5th of 2008 adopted a new list of approved instructional material programs for kindergarten through grade 8. Districts will have 24 months to adopt reading language arts or ELD curricula off of the newly approved list. Subsequently, SB472 professional development opportunities will be provided for the new programs. The list may be accessed through the svcoe.net Language Arts weblog or through the California Department of Education website. San Diego County Office of Education, in partnership with 4 other county offices of education, provides 40 hours of SB 472 professional development for mathematics teachers in grades K through 8, including Algebra 1 to support the implementation of these California state-adopted programs: Harcourt, McGraw-Hill, Houghton Mifflin, Prentice Hall, and McDougall-Littell. Note that on the CDE application for reimbursement, districts should list the appropriate developer provider on the screen that corresponds to the specific curricular program training their teachers attended. Districts interested in having teachers attend the institutes should complete the District Indication of Interest form and fax it to our office. These forms can be downloaded through the San Diego County Office of Education website or obtained by contacting the appropriate lead personnel on the screen.
As a principal, I was really pleased with the SB472 training that my teachers attended. It gave them an opportunity to spend 5 quality days learning from people who had already been in the trenches using the curriculum. They learned how to maneuver through the teachers' editions. They got an opportunity to talk to other people at their grade level and to do a lot of collaboration. They came back to the site really enthused with some really hands-on type of things that they could implement into the classroom immediately. The best thing, I think, was the collaboration that happened at our site afterwards. Then they were able to talk about what they were teaching because they were all on the same page. They knew how to use the assessments appropriately. They could really look at what was good for the students and how to best design their instruction for that. So as a principal, that I was really pleased with the SB 472 training.
In addition to the 40-hour institute, participants may complete 80 hours of practicum, logging hours and providing evidence of additional staff development and other activities relative to implementing the curriculum during the school year. Each participant receives a practicum portfolio passport on the last day of training to log hours and collect evidence in either 4 or 8 categories, including meetings, planning or preparation related to implementation of the appropriate curriculum, time spent analyzing data and planning instruction, participation in site or district coaching or workshops directly related to the implementation of the adopted curriculum, other professional development that is research and standards based, teacher-led demonstration lessons, and curriculum-embedded technology support. For elementary SB 472 follow-up hours, the district provides guidance and support as to what the expectations and guidelines are for completing the practicum. The deadline for submission of the Passport follow-up portfolio to the site administrator is on the front of the document. Administrators review and approve the content of the Passport follow-up portfolio, assuring that the time and evidence is complete. The site and district must maintain these portfolios for a minimum of 5 years as documentation of completion. The READ Implementation Centers offer an online verification system which allows a site administrator or designee to log in and verify that their institute participants completed the 80-hour practicum. The district receives a consolidated verification roster to support application for a reimbursement for the 80-hour practicum. For secondary intensive intervention programs, follow-up hours are under district supervision and are signed off by district designees. The site or district must maintain the portfolios for a minimum of 5 years as documentation of completion. The due date is the beginning of May, 2 years from the completion of the initial Professional Development Institute. For details regarding the mathematics follow-up hours, please contact Jameson Reinick using the email address on the screen. SB472 provides additional funding for state-approved training designed to support English learners in accessing core curriculum called English Learner Professional Development, or ELPD. The ELPD Institute includes 40 hours of professional development subsequent to completion of the first SB472 or AB466 training. The content of the Institute will demonstrate and model for teachers how to be prepared to teach English learners, how to best meet the linguistic needs of English learners, how to design instructional curriculum for English learners, how to integrate instruction of the 4 language domains in all content areas, and how to help English learners show what they know. By the end of the Institute, participants will be able to better use curriculum framework to differentiate instruction through universal access, measure and analyze the achievement of ELs, and use the information to improve student performance, generate ideas with other educators regarding how best to teach ELD, and monitor student progress at each level of English proficiency, plan for and teach oral language development, writing development, effective comprehension skills, as well as early intervention.
The ultimate goal of SB472 English Learner Professional Development Institutes is to increase academic achievement for all English learners. The 40-hour research-based institute builds on the initial SB472 Reading Language Arts and Mathematics Institutes and promotes both academic content knowledge for students and also language proficiency using the state-approved instructional materials. This training provides teachers with the tools and explicit and systemic instructional strategies to be able to promote the content and language proficiency with the state instructional materials in all content areas.
SB472 ELPD, focusing on transference of skills and strategies, is the only state-approved ELPD for Lectura and Foro Abierto teachers. It has 11 strategies that are best practices for English and Spanish, plus it shows the actual transference of skills, routines for transferring the skills that the students have learned through HM or Foro Abierto to English. Participants of the Transference ELPD will also receive the California Language Arts Content Standards side by side for their grade level span. This document aligns the English Language Arts Content Standards and the ELD standards by levels of language acquisition at each grade level. Teachers will spend time using this document to do cognitive planning and to analyze lessons and ELD lessons to make sure that their ELD lessons are aligned with the ELD standards.
Is there much support out there for bilingual educators outside of something like this side-by-side ELPD?
No, there isn't. So this is the only one.
We're here to find SB472 professional development funding. There's no SB472 funding or support for reimbursement here. I know where. Where we are now is at the San Diego County Office of Education, AB430 and SB472 website. What you see here down on the left-hand side is an SB472 menu for teachers. There's the SB472 home, where we are now, legislation and funding, and SDCOE information and resources. I'm going to select legislation and funding. When I come and select this button here, I notice that I see some other options: general information, legislation, CDE program information, and CDE management systems. I'm going to continue and collect CDE program information. What we find here is a direct link to the CDE SB472 website, SB472 guidelines and criteria, which are critical for us all to know, and a letter by Jack O'Connell regarding the implementation of SB472. I'm going to take us to that letter now. This is a must-read for all LEAs or districts participating in SB472. I'd like to highlight a few portions of the letter. In the second paragraph, it discusses the amount of reimbursement for participating teachers. In the third paragraph, it discusses that special education, single subject social science, and single subject science teachers are also eligible for funding. Lastly, the letter shows a table with two options for reimbursement. First, the participant would complete 40 hours of initial training. The district would get reimbursed $1,250 for this. The participant would then complete 80 hours of follow-up work, for which the district would receive an additional $1,250. Lastly, the participant can enroll and complete the ELPD Institute. In this case, the district would receive yet another $1,250, totaling $3,750 for this option. Option 2 also offers $3,750 for reimbursement. However, as you can see, participants would only need to complete 40 hours of follow-up. To clarify, both options can yield $3,750 for districts or LEAs. However, option 1 would require an additional 40 hours of follow-up work. The maximum total of reimbursement for LEAs and districts under SB 472 is $3,750 per participant. Where we are now is the CDE Management Systems Attendance and Funding section of the AB 430 SB 472 website. There's two very important steps I'd like to highlight for you that are a part of this reimbursement process. The first is that CDE needs an application for participation from the LEA or district participating before you submit a CDE application for reimbursement. Where we are now is on the SDCOE Information and Resources page of the SB 472 website. An important point to make, and a common question that comes up as a part of the application for reimbursement process, is who to put down as the approved developer or provider. In elementary reading language arts, on the CDE application for reimbursement, the Reading Alliance Center at the Sacramento County Office of Education is the approved developer/provider. For Reading Language Arts middle school, high school, and intensive intervention programs, on the CDE application for reimbursement, the Sacramento County Office of Education is the approved developer and provider. And for mathematics, it gets a little more complicated depending upon the publisher with which the LEA or the district uses. If you have any questions about who to put down as the approved developer or provider, please go to the Provider Contact Informations page, and these are your contacts. Back on the Request for Applications webpage for Mathematics and Reading Professional Development, for SB472 reimbursement after January 1st, 2007, select SB472 LEA Online Only application. Once you're here, notice that you can find a direct link to the CDE webpage, a link to hard copy materials if your training was prior to January 1st, 2007, a link to forms and crucial due dates, and a link to view the instructions. There are steps on how to get reimbursed, consortium applications, getting started information, and additional contact information for further support. The first step in completing the online application for reimbursement is to find your LEA access code that CDE sent each district superintendent. Then you may begin the process of getting reimbursed.
The process for reimbursement includes 9 steps. First, you must log in with your own username and password anytime you want to access forms for your district. After login, you choose your district from the welcome box on the page or by linking to My Profile or My LEA. From your LEA page, then you select Add Application. Then you fill out the form and you save it. Next, you fill out the assurance page and check Yes to each assurance. In step 5, you complete your consortium applications if they are applicable. Then, when the application is complete, in step 6, you submit it to the California Department of Education. In step 7, you add reimbursement claims. In step 8, you add school-level detail pages to the reimbursement claim. And then lastly, when complete, submit the reimbursement claim to the Department of Education. The reimbursement amount per eligible teacher per content area is subject to the 3.16% funding cap for fiscal year 2007-2008. This cap is the maximum number of teachers for which each district is eligible for SB 472 reimbursement during fiscal year 2007-2008. This maximum is for mathematics and reading training combined. That is, the district does not receive 3.16% for reading and another 3.16% for mathematics. The teacher eligibility list shows the amount for each district. The list can be downloaded through the CDE website. Please note, if a district has not claimed funding up to the 3.16% level before the October 30th, 2008 deadline, the balance will not carry forward into fiscal year 2008-2009. Claims for training completed during 2007-2008 but not submitted to CDE until after the deadline will be paid only if funding is available in either the original year's or next fiscal year's appropriation. Districts may also receive additional funding for teachers trained in excess of the cap. Funding appropriated in 2007-2008 that has not been claimed by districts will be redirected to districts that have trained teachers in excess of the 3.16% cap during 2007-2008. If the funds available for redirection are insufficient to fully fund all claims over the cap, then CDE will prorate funds amongst claims received by the October 30th, 2008 deadline. Any shortfall will be granted first priority for funding in fiscal year 2008-2009. If a funding shortfall exists after the redirection process and the next year's Budget Act does not contain an appropriation for this program, then districts will absorb the shortfall for teachers trained in excess of the cap.
What I'd like to do now is to take you to the LEA Criteria and Guidelines page. Regarding stipends, the law permits but does not require payment of a stipend to teachers. Of the $2,500 reimbursement per teacher, remembering that this does not include the reimbursement for ELPD, no more than $1,000 may be used for stipends per teacher in each instructional training area, mathematics or reading language arts. The LEA or district may pay a stipend up to $500 after a teacher completes the initial 40 hours of training and up to another $500 after a teacher completes the 80 hours of follow-up. Lastly, the Budget Act of fiscal year 2007-2008 does not contain an appropriation to fund the training of paraprofessional and instructional aides.
Does special education have to use state-adopted texts?
Yes, they do. All teachers, in fact. Any teacher participating in SB472 training has to be using State Board approved and district adopted instructional materials with students.
You mean like at the high school level, right?
Correct.
Right,
K through 12.
Gotcha. Okay. But what about these follow-up hours? Do they have to be? When do they have to be completed?
Really good question. Traditionally, it's been they have 2 years of eligibility for funding to complete their 80 hours of follow-up training after those 40 hours of initial training are completed. But of course, schools that are a part of Reading First need to complete all 120 hours within 1 year.
Talk to me about credentialing. Do teachers at elementary level need to have credentials, or how does credentialing work in context of SB 472?
Well, at any grade level, K through 12, all participating teachers in SB 472 need to have a California credential. They might be working full-time, they might be working part-time, they may be pre-intern.
Okay.
They are eligible.
What about substitutes?
Right. If there's a 30-day emergency credential, they are not eligible. Those teachers are not eligible for this SB 472 reimbursement funding.
So what if I'm a new administrator or a district lead and I need some more information on SB 472 or I have questions? Where can I go?
Well, I'd recommend that they go to the SB 472 Frequently Asked Questions section of the CDE website, and I'd like to show you that website now.
Okay, so request for applications website from CDE, and hey, there we go, the frequently asked questions. I click on that, and I see, okay, so there's information about state adopted materials, about participant training, and program funding. There we go. Oh, some other stuff too, waivers, provider information, and so forth. Okay, that's nice.
We're now back on the Request for Applications webpage for Mathematics and Reading Professional Development. What I'd like to do now is to take you to the More About Mathematics and Reading Professional Development page. Notice that there is a section that defines the SB 472 English Learner Professional Development. A critical point to make is found in the last sentence. Since the funding methodology for the English Learner Professional Development component differs from the rest of the program, a letter has been sent to all county and district superintendents that describes the funding process in detail. Let's go there now. Here we see Jack O'Connell's letter regarding the funding process for English Learner Professional Development. The section of the letter titled Funding Process brings up some very important points for districts and participating LEAs. While all local educational agencies are eligible to participate, the law requires that the California Department of Education award priority in funding to any LEA that meets one or more of the following criteria. 20% or more of the district's total enrollment are EL pupils, one or more schools in the district are in program improvement under the federal No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, and one or more schools have not met their English learner subgroup targets. The letter continues to discuss teacher eligibility, training hours, and reimbursement of excess funds. Returning back to the Math and Reading Professional Development intro page, you'll find a section titled application and reimbursement forms for fiscal year 2007, 2008, and prior years. A key point to make regarding this section is there is a table listing the training options for teachers, the appropriate forms to use, and important due dates. Lastly, you may find funding results from previous years and section containing other pertinent information.
We certainly hope you've enjoyed this informative presentation on many aspects of California's Foundational Professional Development for Teachers program. Of course, there are several finer points to the program, as well as district-specific situations that you may need assistance with, particularly with regards to reimbursement and eligibility. We encourage you to contact our office for further support with any of your questions regarding the SB472 program.